Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel Microbe Academy. Today we are going to discuss one of the most important intestinal protozoan parasite in medical microbiology, that is Giardia lamblia, the causative agent of giardiasis. This parasite is a major public health problem worldwide and is especially common in the area with poor sanitation and contaminated drinking water. In this lecture, we will study its morphology, life cycle, pathogenicity, clinical features, laboratory diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and its control in detail exactly as required for your examination. Okay, now let's just start. Giardiasis is caused by the protozoan parasite Giardia lamblia, and it is one of the most common cause of protozoal diarrhea throughout the world. The organism primarily infects the small intestine, especially the duodenum and upper jejunum, and Giardia infection may remain asymptomatic or may produce acute or chronic diarrheal disease associated with the malabsorption. It was first observed by Antony van Leeuwenhoek in 1861 and later described by the Lambel in 1859. The organism is named after the Professor A. Giard and the Professor F. Lambel, and even today the giardiasis remain a major parasitic disease in developing countries. And moving to the geographical distribution, the giardia has a cosmopolitan distribution, meaning it occurs worldwide. However, it is highly prevalent in tropical and subtropical countries, area with poor sanitation, region with unsafe drinking water. The high prevalence area include tropical Africa, Mexico, Russia, Southeast Asia, Western South America, and giardiasis is especially common among the children, travelers, daycare population, and immune-compromised individual. The parasite inhabits in the duodenum and upper jejunum of human, and the trophozoites attach to the intestinal mucosa using a ventral sucking disc. Okay, let's discuss the morphology of the parasite. Morphologically, Giardia lamblia exists in two forms, that is trophozoite and cyst. In this figure, we can see the trophozoite and cyst form of the parasite. We will discuss the trophozoites and cyst form of a parasite each in a detail. Okay, now let's discuss about the trophozoite stage of the parasite. It is also known as the vegetative stage of the parasite. It is pear shape or tennis racket shape with a rounded anterior and pointed posterior end measuring 10 to 15 micrometer in size, and dorsal surface is convex and ventral surface is concave. The ventral sucking discs are present for the attachment to the intestinal mucosa, and the body is bilaterally symmetrical and consists of a pair of a nuclei, four pair of the flagella, that is anterior, posterior, ventral, and caudal flagella, one pair of exostyle running along the midline, which is the internal cytoskeletal structure of the parasite, and a pair of exostyle into sausage-shaped paravessel or median bodies lying transversely posterior to the sucking disc, and the trophozoite is motile with a slow oscillation about its long axis, often resembling the falling leaf. And the next morphology is the cyst form of the parasite. The cyst form of the parasite is the infective form of the parasite and is small, oval in a shape, measuring approximately 12 to 8 micrometer. It is surrounded by a thick, transparent cyst wall which protects it from the external environment, and the internal structure consists of two pair of nuclei in the mature cyst and usually grouped at the one end. The nucleus are grouped at the one end of the cyst form, and the young cyst contains only one pair of nuclei. The exoderms or exostyles lie diagonally, forming a dividing line within the cyst wall. The remnants of the flagella and the ventral sucking disc may be absorbed inside the cytoplasm, especially in the young cyst. Okay, now I will discuss about the life cycle of Giardia lamblia. The life cycle of the Giardia lamblia is completed in a single host. No intermediate host is required for the completion of the parasite life cycle. And the infective stage is the matured cyst form is the infective stage, and transmission occurs through the contaminated food, water, and also via the oral anal sexual contact. Now, the life cycle involves the several five stages. First is the infectious cyst or the transmission stage, where the life cycle begins when a host ingests the highly environmentally resistant cyst, often via the contaminated water, food, or person-to-person contact. Upon the ingestion, the stomach acid triggers the cyst to release the motile feeding form called the trophozoites. And a single cyst can release two trophozoite stage of the parasite. After the release of the trophozoitic stage, the trophozoites attach to the intestinal wall using a specialized ventral sucking disc, and they multiply rapidly by longitudinal binary fission, absorbing the nutrients and causing the gastrointestinal distress. After the trophozoite reproduction, incestation occurs as the trophozoite travel down the digestive tract into the colon. The environment changes, causing them to develop back into the hard-celled cyst form. Here, the trophozoite retract the flagella into the axonims. Cytoplasm become a condensed and a thin tough hyaline cyst wall is secreted, forming a cyst form of the parasite. Now, the newly formed cysts are set into the environment through the feces, where they can contaminate the water source and infect the new host, thereby completing their life cycle. It takes a few as a 10 to 100 cysts to establish an active infections in an individual. And in this way, the parasite completes its life cycle in a single host, that is a human host. Okay, now let's move to the infection caused by the Giardia lamblia, its pathogenicity, clinical features. As I already mentioned, the mode of infection is via the fecal-oral route by the ingestion of the mature cyst through the contaminated food, water, and vegetables, and as few as the 10 cysts are sufficient to cause the infection. Pathogenicity of the parasite. Here, the parasite does not invade the tissues. Instead, it attaches to the intestinal mucosa using the ventral sucking disc and feed on the mucus. It causes the damage to the intestinal villi through the increased apoptosis of epithelial cell, lymphocytic infiltration of the lamina propria, and lead to the loss of the gross border epithelium, resulting in the deficiency of digestive enzyme, especially the disaccharides, and heavy infection can causes the irritation, inflammations, and malabsorptions. Several factors increase the susceptibility toward the giardiasis, such as the chronic pancreatitis, malnutrition, immunoglobulin A deficiency, and so on. Now let's discuss about the clinical features of the disease giardiasis. The giardiasis is an intestinal infection usually caused by the Giardia lamblia, as I already mentioned this, characterized mainly by diarrhea and malabsorptions, having an incubation period about the 2 weeks, which is variable. Okay, now let's move to the clinical feature of the disease. Many of the infections are asymptomatic, and the symptomatic cases are present with acute or chronic diarrhea, foul smelling, greasy stool, abdominal cramps, flatulence, nausea and vomiting, weight loss, fatigue, malabsorption syndrome. Since the parasites are coated on the mucosa, thus the absorption suffers. Steatorrhea means fatty stools, and the stool contain the fat and mucus but not the blood. It also causes a traveler's diarrhea, which is highly present or which is common among the visitors to the area to the endemic area. Infection among the children. Many of the children may develop a chronic diarrhea, a fat malabsorption, deficiency of vitamin A, B12, folic acid, protein and sugars, weight loss, growth retardation, flu-like syndromes due to the failures to develop the immunoglobulin A antibodies, and sometimes the disease may causes the complications when the parasite localized in the biliary tract and lead to the chronic biliary colic and jaundice. Okay, now let's discuss about the diagnosis of the Giardia lamblia. Laboratory diagnosis of Giardia lamblia is mainly based on the stool examinations, in macroscopic examinations and microscopic examination of the stained prepared stool specimen. Intero test can also be done. Several serological tests can also detect the antigen and antibody present in the patients, and several molecular diagnostic tests such as techniques such as DNA probe and PCR are also used for the diagnosis of the Giardia lamblia. Okay, now let's understand the diagnosis of giardiasis in detail. Diagnosis of giardiasis is done mainly by the stool examinations. It is the main methods of the diagnosis where the stool is examined macroscopically and microscopically for the detection of the cyst and trophozoite test. During the macroscopic examination of the stool sample, it may appear the pale colored stool, offensive in odor, fatty appearance, and floats on the water. And during the for the microscopic examination, we can prepare a saline and iodine weight mount for the detection of cyst and trophozoitic stage of the parasite. Usually, the cyst stage of the parasites are detected in the formed stool, and the trophozoites and cyst both are present on a diarrheal stool. Sometimes, because of the parasites are attached firmly to the mucosa by means of a sucking disc, a series of even 5 or 6 consecutive stool specimen may not show the presence of any parasites, and they also tends to pass in a stool on a cyclic basis. In such cases, for the in a carrier stage, the concentration techniques can be used to increase the detection rate, and several concentration techniques can be used such as a formal ether method, zinc acetate methods are used, and for the asymptomatic carrier, multiple stool samples are needed for the diagnosis. Similarly, the trophozoites of Giardia lamblia may be detected in the bile aspirated from the duodenum by intubation and by duodenal capsule test technique, which is known as the Intero test. In this test, the patient swallows the gelatin capsule with a thread. The thread reaches the duodenum and it is withdrawn after the 2 hours and observed for the presence of the Giardia, either cyst or trophozoites test. This test is not a routine test and not commonly used due to the high cost. And the next method is serodiagnosis method, where we can detect the antigen and antibody present against the Giardia in our blood. During for the antigen detection test, ELISA immunochromatographic test or indirect immunofluorescence test can be done. It detects the Giardia specific antigen such as GSA65. This method is 95% sensitive and 100% specific and indicate the active infection among the individual. And the antibody detection can also be done by the ELISA and immunofluorescence test. Usually, this method is used in the epidemiological studies. However, this method cannot differentiate the past and present infection, so it has a limited clinical value. Next method is molecular methods where we use the DNA probe polymerase chain reactions for the detection of the parasite genome in the stool, and usually this method is used in the research and advanced diagnosis rather than on a regular diagnosis or the diagnosis or the routine diagnosis. So the stool examinations and detection of the cyst and trophozoites present in the stool specimen is the main diagnostic method for the disease, and sometimes the antigen detections are highly sensitive. Since the antigen detections has a high sensitivity and specificity and indicate the active infections, this test can also be used for the routine diagnosis of the disease giardiasis. Treatment of the giardiasis is carried out with the metronidazole, tinidazole, and furazolidine. Metronidazole is very effective, but has a potential carcinogenicity in rats and produces mutagenic changes in a bacteria. It is not recommended for the pregnant women. And tinidazole has proven more effective than the metronidazole as a single dose. And similarly, furazolidol is often used for treatment of the children. And only the symptomatic patients require the treatment of this disease. And for the prophylaxis and prevention of the disease, giardiasis can be prevented by several improved personal measures, environmental measures, water safety, and public health measures. This can be prevented by improved water supply, proper disposal of human feces, improve the personal hygiene, routine hand washing, proper storage of the food and water, control of insects which may come in contact with the infected stools and then contaminate the food or water, and treatment of the symptomatic and asymptomatic individuals are necessary for the prevention and control of this disease. Okay, now let's just quickly summarize this. To conclude, the Giardia lamblia is one of the most important intestinal protozoan parasite causing the giardiasis worldwide. The parasite mainly affects the small intestine and produces diarrhea and malabsorption. Diagnosis depends primarily on the stool examination and detection of a cyst and trophozoite stage and also a antigen detection test. Proper sanitation, hygiene, and safe drinking water remain the key preventive measure for the disease. If you found this lecture helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more microbiology lectures. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.